August 10th, 1977, 2:30 p.m. Elvis Presley walked into the Western Union office on Union Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee. He was alone, which was unusual. Elvis rarely went anywhere without his entourage, but today he'd slipped out of Graceland by himself, telling no one where he was going. The clerk behind the counter, a young woman named Susan Miller, recognized him immediately but tried to maintain professional composure. "Good afternoon, sir. How can I help you?" "I need to send a telegram," Elvis said. His voice was tired, and Susan could see he looked unwell. His face was puffy, his movements slow and careful, like someone in chronic pain. "Certainly. Do you have the message written out, or would you like to dictate it?" Elvis pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket. "I wrote it out, but I need this delivered on a specific date. Can you do that?" "Yes, sir. We can schedule delivery for any future date. When would you like it delivered?" "August 16th, 1978, Elvis said. "Exactly 1 year from now. Well, 1 year from August 16th. Susan looked confused. "You want it delivered on August 16th, 1978. "That's right. "And who should it be sent to?" Elvis paused, then said quietly, "Me. Elvis Presley, Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee." Susan stared at him. "You want to send a telegram to yourself, to be delivered a year from now? Is that a problem?" "No, sir. It's just unusual. We don't get many requests like that." Elvis smiled, but it was a sad smile. "I imagine not. Can you do it?" "Yes, absolutely." "May I see the message?" Elvis handed her the folded paper. Susan opened it and read what was written there in Elvis's distinctive handwriting. "Elvis, stop if you are reading this. You made it stop 1 more year. Stop, I am proud of you. Stop, keep going. Stop, the worst is behind you. Stop, better days ahead. Stop, love, Elvis." Susan read it twice, trying to understand. This man, one of the most famous people in the world, was sending himself a message of encouragement to be delivered a year in the future. It was simultaneously hopeful and heartbreaking. "This is the message you want sent?" Susan asked gently. "Yes. Exactly as written, and it has to be delivered on August 16th, 1978, not before, not after. That specific date. May I ask why that date is significant?" Elvis looked at her with eyes that held more pain than she'd realized. "Because if I'm alive to read it, it means I survived. And I need to know I can survive. I need future me to know that past me believed he could make it 1 more year." Susan processed the telegram carefully, her hands slightly shaking as she entered the future delivery date into the system. Western Union's delayed delivery service was rarely used for anything beyond a few weeks or months, but it was technically available for exactly this kind of request. The telegram would be held in the Memphis office's secure filing system and hand-delivered to Graceland on August 16th, 1978, exactly 1 year from the date Elvis had specified. "That'll be $350, Susan said, her voice gentle because she could sense this transaction meant more than the words on the paper suggested. Elvis pulled out his wallet and handed her a $100 bill without hesitation. "Keep the change. All of it." "Sir, that's way too much. I can't accept—" "Please," Elvis interrupted. "Consider it payment for taking care of something important. That telegram matters to me. It matters a lot. I need to know it'll be delivered exactly when I asked." Susan understood that this wasn't just about the money. This was about Elvis making sure that his future self would receive this message of hope and encouragement. She took the $100 and gave him his receipt. "I promise it will be delivered on August 16th, 1978, Susan said. "I'll make a note in our system and follow up personally to ensure it happens." "Thank you," Elvis said. He started to leave, then turned back. "If I don't make it to next year, if something happens to me before then, deliver it anyway. To my father at Graceland. He should see it." Susan felt a chill run down her spine. "Mr. Presley, are you okay? Is everything all right?" Elvis gave her that sad smile again. "I'm trying to be okay. That's why I sent the telegram, to remind myself to keep trying." He left the Western Union office and drove back to Graceland, where no one had even noticed he'd been gone. 6 days later, on August 16th, 1977, Elvis Presley was found dead in his bathroom at Graceland. He was 42 years old. The official cause of death was cardiac arrhythmia, though the true cause was prescription drug abuse and years of physical neglect. The world mourned. Thousands of fans descended on Memphis. The funeral at Graceland was attended by family, friends, and celebrities. Vernon Presley, Elvis's father, was devastated by the loss of his son. He had already lost his wife Gladys 19 years earlier. Now he'd lost Elvis too. In the chaos following Elvis's death, nobody thought about a telegram scheduled for delivery in exactly 1 year. Susan Miller, the Western Union clerk, heard about Elvis's death on the news and immediately remembered the telegram. She checked the company's records and confirmed it was still scheduled for delivery on August 16, 1978. Susan struggled with what to do. The telegram was meant for Elvis, meant to encourage him if he'd survived. But he hadn't survived. Should she cancel it? Should she let it be delivered to Vernon as Elvis had requested? She decided to honor Elvis's instructions exactly as he'd given them. If he didn't make it to the next year, deliver it to his father. Elvis had anticipated this possibility. He'd known he might not survive. August 16, 1978, the first anniversary of Elvis Presley's death. Graceland was closed to all visitors and tourists, and Vernon Presley spent the agonizing day in private grief, moving through the mansion like a ghost, remembering his son, touching Elvis's belongings, looking at photographs, and crying until he had no more tears left. At 2:30 p.m., exactly 1 year to the precise minute after Elvis had walked into the Western Union office to send the telegram, a uniformed delivery man arrived at Graceland's massive wrought iron gates with an official Western Union telegram envelope addressed to Elvis Presley. The security guard at the gate looked confused and disturbed. "This is addressed to Elvis? Elvis Presley?" "Yes, sir. It's a delayed delivery telegram sent exactly 1 year ago today with specific instructions to deliver it on this date. Elvis has been dead for exactly 1 year. Today is the anniversary." "I know, sir. I'm very aware of that. But the telegram was sent a year ago with explicit instructions to deliver it today regardless of any circumstances. There's a note attached that if Elvis isn't available to receive it personally, it should be given to Vernon Presley instead." The security guard took the telegram and brought it to the main house. He found Vernon sitting in Elvis's bedroom, looking at photographs. "Mr. Presley, something strange just arrived. It's a telegram for Elvis sent exactly 1 year ago, scheduled for delivery today." Vernon took the telegram with shaking hands, staring at it as if it were an artifact from another dimension. He opened it slowly, almost afraid of what he might find inside, and read the message Elvis had written to himself. "Elvis, stop. If you are reading this, you made it stop 1 more year. Stop. I am proud of you. Stop. Keep going. Stop. The worst is behind you. Stop. Better days ahead. Stop. Love, Elvis." Vernon read it once, struggling to process the words. Then again, trying to understand what his son had been thinking. Then a third time, and the full weight of it crashed over him. Then he broke down crying, clutching the telegram to his chest like it was the last piece of Elvis he'd ever receive. Elvis had written this message just 6 days before his death, 6 days before everything ended suddenly and tragically. He'd been trying to give himself hope, trying to motivate himself to survive 1 more year, trying to create accountability for his future self. He'd believed, or at least desperately tried to believe, that he could make it to August 16, 1978, that better days were ahead, that the worst was truly behind him. But he'd been wrong about everything. The worst wasn't behind him at all. The worst was just 6 days away, and there would be no better days ahead because there would be no more days at all for Elvis Presley. Vernon called Charlie Hodge, one of Elvis's closest and most trusted friends who'd been with him through good times and bad, and showed him the telegram with trembling hands. Charlie read it carefully and felt his own eyes immediately fill with tears of grief and recognition. "He knew he was in serious trouble," Charlie said, his voice breaking. "He knew he might not make it through the year. That's why he sent this to himself. He was trying to stay motivated, trying to give himself a concrete reason to keep fighting, to keep trying to get healthy. But he didn't fight hard enough," Vernon said bitterly, anger and grief mixing together. "He gave up. He let those damn pills kill him instead of fighting." "No," Charlie said firmly, gently but insistently. "He didn't give up at all. Look at this telegram carefully. He was actively planning for a future. He believed he could survive another year. He was setting goals for himself. That's not giving up, Vernon. That's hoping. That's fighting. He just ran out of time before hope could save him, before the fight could be won." Vernon kept the telegram in Elvis's bedroom at Graceland. He couldn't bring himself to throw it away, even though reading it was painful. This message, meant for Elvis's future self, had instead become a message to the living about Elvis's final days. The story of the telegram gradually became known among Elvis's inner circle. Some people found it tragic, a message of hope that arrived too late. Others found it heartbreaking, proof that Elvis had wanted to live, had been fighting to survive, even if he ultimately lost that fight. Susan Miller, the Western Union clerk who'd processed the telegram, learned that it had been delivered to Vernon Presley after Elvis's death. In interviews years later, she talked about that afternoon when Elvis walked into her office alone. "He looked so tired," Susan said in a 1995 interview, "and so sad. But there was also determination there. He was sending that telegram because he wanted to survive. He was giving himself a goal, make it one more year. He was trying to take control of his life," Susan continued. "The saddest part is that he almost made it. 6 more days, and it would have been a year since he sent the telegram. 6 more days, and maybe he could have started believing that better days really were ahead. But those 6 days were too many." The telegram became one of the most poignant artifacts related to Elvis's death. It showed a man aware of his mortality, fighting against it, trying to motivate himself to survive. It showed someone who still had hope, even when that hope was fragile. Vernon Presley died in 1979, just 2 years after Elvis. Among his possessions was the telegram, carefully preserved in a protective sleeve. It was donated to the Elvis Presley Museum at Graceland, where it remains one of the most visited exhibits. Visitors stand in front of the telegram, reading Elvis's words to himself, seeing the date he chose for delivery, and realizing with heartbreak that he died exactly 1 year and 6 days after sending it. He'd almost made it to his self-imposed deadline. Almost, but not quite. The telegram Elvis sent to himself has become a symbol of his final struggles. It represents his awareness that his life was spiraling out of control, his desire to change course, his hope that he could survive long enough to see better days. Music historians point to the telegram as evidence that Elvis wasn't resigned to his fate, wasn't passively accepting his decline. He was actively trying to fight it, trying to motivate himself, trying to create accountability for his future self. "If I'm alive to read this, it means I survived," Elvis had told Susan Miller. That simple statement revealed everything about his mindset in those final days. He knew survival wasn't guaranteed. He knew he was in danger. He was trying to give himself a reason to keep fighting. The telegram also reveals something about Elvis's relationship with time and the future. He could have sent himself a message to be delivered in a week or a month, but he chose 1 year, 1 full year. That's how long he believed he needed to get himself back on track, to overcome his addictions, to become healthy again. 1 year, 365 days. He got 6 of them before his body finally gave out. Fans who visit Graceland and see the telegram often cry. It's one thing to know Elvis died. It's another thing to see proof that he was trying not to die, that he was fighting for his life, even if he ultimately lost that fight. The message itself, "I am proud of you. Stop, keep going. Stop, the worst is behind you. Stop, better days ahead," reads differently when you know it was never read by the person it was meant for. These words of encouragement, meant to motivate Elvis to continue his recovery, became instead a eulogy, a statement of intentions that would never be fulfilled. Vernon Presley kept the telegram not as a souvenir but as a reminder that Elvis had wanted to live, had tried to live, had been planning for a future that never came. In Vernon's grief and guilt, all parents feel they should have done more to save their children. The telegram was proof that Elvis had been fighting his own battle, that his death wasn't solely the result of giving up or not caring. The telegram Elvis sent to himself arrived after he died, a message from the past to a future that ceased to exist. It's one of the most tragic artifacts in music history, not because of what it says, but because of who never got to read it. Elvis Presley, writing to himself on August 10, 1977, believed he had a future worth planning for, worth motivating himself toward. 6 days later, that future ended. And 1 year later, the message he'd sent to celebrate his survival arrived at a house in mourning, a reminder of hope unfulfilled and a life cut short. The telegram sits in its protective case at Graceland, a testament to the human desire to survive, to improve, to believe that better days are ahead, and a reminder that sometimes, despite our best intentions and our deepest hopes, we run out of time before we run out of things to live for.